I'm Shane Nyland, and my co host is Blake Musser. And these stories you're about to hear are from Weapons Company, 2nd Battalion, 4th Marines, 1st Marine Division, about the events surrounding and directly from the mouths of the people who were in Ramadi 2004. This is part 2 with Andrew Kern of Mobile Assault Platoon One.
Let's see. So summer continues after April 10th. Things kind of like definitely small arms engagements go down quite a bit. And yeah, we continue. We press on with the presence, showing a presence of force or whatever, and the endless OPs and patrols and stuff like that. I remember there was a time when these do you guys remember this unit of elite Iraqi, like former Iraqi army guys called the Shishwanis
The
or
Shishwani,
something?
yes. Yes,
Oh man, I forgot about this.
those are, so not
Good for
just for the
you.
Iraqi army, they were a special semi-religious Shia unit, which
Right.
that was a big thing when they brought them in, is that we were in a Sunni province with all Sunni Muslims, and they were bringing in these special Shia special forces or whatever the fuck they were. Yeah.
Yeah, they were quite a forgettable unit. Buster. They were supposed to be these badass dudes who were gonna like change the tide of the war, and like they
Yeah.
were pussies, dude. They like they like we took them out on like two missions. I remember we took them out and like they were like I think they got shot at a few times. I didn't know that they were a Shia thing. So yeah, I'm sure the Sunnis of
Mhm.
Ramadi weren't happy with them. Um, and they like took fire a couple times, and they were like, "We leave, we no more." Like, yeah, they bailed, dude. So I kind of remember, I remember those guys. Here's let's see. Okay,
Well,
so
so if you don't remember, their captain or major or whatever rank he said he was, he was wearing shiny something. He looked like he was 55 and like an overweight, like fat dude from nowhere. Like yeah, and he was the guy carrying the machine gun. And so that's I remember this guy specifically. That's the only reason why they really stand out. And
I,
they wore the old Desert Storm
yeah,
chocolate chip camis. And so
I think I have a.
they stood out like a
yeah,
sore thumb. Yeah.
I
yeah.
I actually I actually you saying that now. I remember I have a picture of them sitting in the back of a high back.
Yeah, and the big fat guy in the
They're
middle smiling. Yes,
yeah
I remember that picture too. Yeah.
yeah
Ooh, all right. I'll have to have you send me that picture.
Yeah, for
yeah.
sure.
That's
The chocolate chip. I remember that chocolate chip. You're right. They had those chocolate chip candies. And the entire Iraqi army and police force were super corrupt. I mean, you took one look at them, even pre-April 6th. Like
uh,
I remember them just being a gaggle of just window lickers, dude.
Well, you had so I'll give them one kudos point as far as that goes. They were either so brazen you didn't understand where their mind was, or they were completely worthless and were just there for a paycheck. Because I remember a couple of times, especially the older guys, they'd walk out there and defuse an IED with their hands with no nothing. They just walk out there with like a pair of like tin snips and just cut the wires, yank out the explosive, walk away, and just show their hands in the air like they did some magic trick. And we're like, you're psychotic.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Inshallah.
Yeah,
Wow.
exactly.
well. You have to remember too that what partially happened there is the great mistake that we made as a coalition is that even though a lot of the military forces surrendered even before we got there because they wanted nothing to do with the war. They were anti-Saddam, more or less. I mean, I'm
Mhm.
oversimplifying, but point being is that in our infinite wisdom, we decided to completely decimate the entire army structure and police force structure in Iraq, and then say, well, we're just going to start over again.
Yeah.
And so even people that were loyal, or even people that would have been loyal to the Iraqi country, just because they were already associated with the military or the police, they were automatically kicked out. And then there's this really weird vetting process that wasn't really working. And so all the people that were originally a part of this were the idiots that weren't a part of the military in the first place. And so these are the guys that were trying to get spun up real quick. And I mean, and for for 1,000 different motivations too. And then on top of that, the weirdos that we had, you have to remember, Ramadi was the retirement city of the Baathists and the Republican Guard. And so on the whole, not anybody could be a part. Like, most of the people that were in Ramadi were sympathetic to Saddam in the first place. And so they weren't pulling upon the best and the brightest of the city in the first place, on top of not pulling from the best and the brightest of what would have been there before. So yes, we had a very stupid situation on our hands.
Really teed up for a guaranteed failure, dude.
Oh
Yeah,
well, yeah. Anyways,
good.
No, it was just, I'm just remembering the idiots. That's all. I just the number of times trying to talk to these guys when we were at the police stations, holding some of these checkpoints with these just. Anyways, it was bad. Well, yeah. and they don't have, and then to complicate it, and this is non-judgmental, but just to complicate it some more is that our like worldview philosophy of like how things should, like, kind of like this pursuit of immediate excellence, that's not their culture. They have like this completely different relationship with time. Time exists in this paradigm, and so they'd be like, no, we need to do this now, guys. And they're like, okay. And it's like, I'm gonna kill you. So
yeah, I've lived in a lot of underdeveloped countries since I left the Corps, and I'm telling you, that's the norm out there. And and it's pretty bad when a bunch of infantry Marines are like, man, these guys are dumb, huh? Like, you're not getting the cream of the crop. So like, speaking of Iraqi security forces and their severe incompetence. So mid-July, we're on a routine kind of trip to the government center for God knows what. I'm an E3 by now. I'm a Lance Corporal, but I still don't know anything. And I just know we're at the government center. I know to take security and let the officers do their thing. And we were parked next to like some kind of guard tower or guard shack that was a bit elevated, I think, by the entrance of the government center or something like that.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And there was a couple of Iraqi police officers up in the tower, and me and Hess and Doc Cornwell and Peterson are like, the enlisted guys are holding down the Humvee while Lieutenant Crawford's in doing officer stuff. And these two Iraqi guys up in the tower start talking shit to us. They're like, they start gesturing towards us like they're shooting us with their like hands, and they're like, tomato, Alibaba, boom boom. And we were like, yeah, whatever. Like, shut up. You're idiots. And that was July 13th. And then July 14th, we're out with, I think it's like people from like the headquarters and supply, like maybe the colonel, I can't remember who was with us. But yeah, we got into a big firefight. That was like Map One's first like really big engagement. Somewhere on Route Michigan. Again, I'm not good on the layout of the city, but boy, did I shoot some rounds that day. I dismounted. There was an army unit that was like under really heavy fire from a building that was right in front of us. The whole Route Michigan was, it's a big multiple lane highway through the cities. There's empty cars, like civilian cars all over the place, with the doors hanging open where you could see where like the shooting started a few minutes before we got there, and like all the civilians like knew the drill, like leave your car and head for cover because you're in the crossfire. And yeah, I went out because we're lieutenant's vehicle. We were the lead vehicle. So we made contact first with these army guys, and I got behind a car and just I could see where the muzzle flashes were coming out of this building. I could see RPGs coming out of it at us, and then also like they were shooting at our Humvees down the street, um, and then I dropped at least 3 or 4 magazines, like right, just mag dumps. I didn't even like I probably didn't hit anything, but man, I shot a ton. I remember seeing an army guy had he was like behind the car next to me. He had like a little girl. He was like shielding her, like probably got like was just happened to be there like any normal civilian, like out on the street that day, and maybe I don't know, got separated from her family or whatever. He had her in one hand, and he was shooting his M16 with his other hand. Um, and yeah, I just remember mag dumping a bunch and um being there for I don't even know how long, maybe half an hour or so, and then I was kind of by myself, like just me and these army guys. And then at some point, Lieutenant Crawford came, got me. We both ran across that street down like maybe a block or two, and then he put me and Sean Silver, Silver and Terry,
Yep.
up on a roof together to be like Overwatch. By this time, we'd been issued the Advanced Combat Optical Gun Sight, the ACOG. And so we were up there, and there was kind of firefights going on a couple blocks here, a couple blocks down here, and we were kind of on an elevated position. So we started taking fire from a couple different directions. I remember hearing like bullets coming, snapping past us, and um, it made you reluctant to like kind of poke your head up too much. But we were like
Sure.
Overwatch, and we were trying to like, you know, find targets the best that we could. And I remember that um Sean, like, Sean told me, he was like, hey, he was looking through his ACOG. He's like, I think I've got some people over here. And um he pointed me to a building, at the roof of a building, like maybe I'm so bad with distance, especially 22 years later, but like maybe 100 to 150 meters away from us. And it had like cami netting and sandbags and stuff up there. And it was like clearly like a pre-planned ambush site. And there was a bunch of dudes. There was like 4 dudes up there crawling around. And not all of them had weapons, but they all looked like they were up to no good. And it turns out they did have weapons, but we didn't totally know that at the time. But um, we were just like, all right, I guess this is it. It's your time to shine. So we both just lit all 4 of those guys up. And I remember shooting one guy, like they had no idea we were there. So we just opened fire on these guys. And I don't think they even had much of a time to react. I remember shooting one guy. I could see him from head to toe. And I remember really zooming in on him for several shots. And I had him dead to rights through my ACOG, and I shot him a bunch of times, and he just wouldn't go down. And I was like, am I missing? That was the one time in the whole Marine Corps that I switched my rifle to 3-round burst and fired a 3-round burst. It's like, I'm, is there something wrong with me? And then finally he dropped, and it turns out like a unit from, I think it was Fox, maybe it was Golf, I can't remember, but uh, uh, rifle company unit went up to that rooftop and was like, they radioed to our platoon and said, whoever shot the guys on that roof, those guys had us like pinned down really, really bad. And whoever shot them up really did a number on them, because these guys are ventilated. And Crawford told us, Lieutenant Crawford was like, Silver and Kern, you guys really shot the hell out of those guys. And yeah, that felt really good. And yeah, so we cleaned up the rest of that day. We found a ton of ordnance in this. It was a political party or something. This building that was that part of the ambush was like this corrupt political party. And yeah, there's footage of that from Ollie North. I think Ollie North was with us, and there's footage of them. Major Harrell's there, like he's got a couple grenades, and somebody's like, "It's a political party," and then he goes, "Well, it's a party, that's for sure." And He was right. And yeah, so that felt good. Uh, that felt really good. And that was probably like, I mean, if I remember like looking at my watch and be like, wow, this is like been like a 3 hour gunfight. And it yeah, it was that kicked off, I'd say like 3 or 4 weeks of kind of some a little bit more small arms engagements from our uh with our platoon, with all of our with the whole battalion. It seems like
Yeah.
there was a second wave in like July, August of like um you know newcomers or something, some guys with with the power of Allah or something
I
come
mean,
at
They were
us.
definitely more trained. There was something very there. There was a it was a new wave of what they were calling the hobby,
well, and then
the foreigner.
yep. And then that was when we had, again, we had Delta and all that rolling through the area, and with the SEALs, and there was a lot more AQI. That was when the first Al Qaeda in Iraq sort of started with Zarqawi, and that was we did those missions to try to find Zarqawi, and we stole his
Mhm.
pants and like found his driver, and like there wasn't a whole lot of, we never found him. They
Yeah.
somebody killed him a couple years later, but it was that was where all the posters were coming from, and so yeah, it was a whole different element of people. It was a lot more accurate fire, a lot more sniper fire, a lot more stand-up gunshots and gunfights, similar to what you saw in April versus you're right, the middle part, right? Like May was more IEDs, June was a little bit of a mixed picture, and then July really started a lot of big gunfights.
Yeah, yeah, I remember like all through July and August was like, okay, now this is it. This is what I came here for. Like,
Yeah.
it kind of got to the point where it was like every time you go out, like there's gonna
Yep.
be some kind of gunfire. Like
Yep.
whether it's like a 30-second gunfight or like a few hours. There was one like I think I looked at my watch and it was like 6 hours where I think we were with a unit from Fox Company and they got ambushed. That's where the dead Iraqi person on the got put on the truck. It was like a guy from our platoon. We were doing like a kind of, I guess you'd call it movement to contact or whatever, like
Mm-hmm.
bounding from block to block, like street to street,
Yep.
fighting these guys. And a kid came running out of his house with ammo in his hand. And I say a kid, I mean like an older teenager, a man came running out of his house with a ton of ammo in his hands. And he saw us to his left, and then he turned right to run away from us down the street. And one of our guys popped him in the back of the head from the hip. Great shot. And dude goes somersaulting forward, lands on his belly, um, maybe 40 meters in front of us, and me and Lieutenant Crawford go up to he felt like kind of behind something. We couldn't quite see him from where he we were standing when he got shot, but um we went up there and saw his body laying on the ground. And I remember I was like, yeah. And then Lieutenant Crawford, maybe he didn't like that. So he was like, take the corner over there, Kern. And so
you're having too much fun in this combat. You're supposed to time out.
This is it, man. I'm living. I live it. And so I took my usual knee, held my usual corner, and I could hear there was a kind of debate going on. Apparently, like I could hear Lieutenant Crawford talking with, I think it was Doc Gibbons. He was our other corpsman, and maybe Staff Sergeant Drake was there or something like that. The dude wasn't dead. He had taken a hit in the back of the head, but like the story I told about shooting these guys on the roof, like the M16 round is so little, and I don't know. Um, you guys know, of course. Like,
Yeah. No, we domed a
they don't
couple
always
guys
die.
that didn't kill them right away. I mean, it cracked
Yep.
off a chunk of their skull,
Uh-huh.
but they were still very alive.
Yeah,
Not for
yeah.
long,
It's
and you're not going to survive in a third world country with getting a fancy toupee made for you. But
yeah, no, especially if Map One's got something to say about it. And so so he's guy's still alive. but he fell down with he fell down on top of his ordnance that he was carrying, and we didn't know what was under there. And somebody was trying to make Doc Gibbons work on him. And Doc Gibbons was like, hell no. He's got a grenade down there. Like he's got a grenade with the pin pulled. And I'm not flipping him over. Like, and but so there's this debate, this like moral debate going on behind us. I remember yelling, I'll pop him if you need me to. And I don't think somebody told me to shut up. And so I
Probably.
didn't do anything. Yeah, probably. Yeah. I would have told me to shut up. Because it was like I think it was like somebody was like, shoot him and let's go. Because like we have to move. We're in contact. Like we can't sit around like standing around this kid, this young man. So there's this whole thing going on about like I remember Lieutenant Crawford saying like it's immoral. I'm not going to do it. And I assume he meant like I'm not gonna finish off this person who's dying, like, right. Gunshot wound to the head. And so eventually the individual dies on their own, but there's still ordnance under him, and we don't know what it is. And so they tie a chain to his feet, and then the other end of the chain to a Humvee. And as map 1 does, we pull the chain back, like drive the Humvee back. And lo and behold, there's nothing there of any danger. But we ended up putting that person's body up on the roof of that Humvee, or on the hood.
On the hood.
We covered it with a poncho liner, and then spent the rest of that gunfight, which was a couple more hours, like with this thing, like a dead deer, like on the tie. There's blood all over the hood. I have a photo of it somewhere, of this massive pool of like blood all over the thing.
I don't remember why, like, because we were on a parallel street, and I don't remember where our streets converged, but I got like right next to that vehicle. Well, your poncho liner had either torn or blown off, and you guys were trying to cover him with an MRE box, which I also thought was hilarious, and like duct tape. And I was like, okay, great.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Decisions have been made.
I remember walking over to Anthony and being like, why that guy? There's so many dead bodies. Why that guy? And he's like, don't ask. Just don't ask. I'm like, all right, cool. All right, we're going this way. See you later. And that was it.
See you later. Yeah. And I don't remember what happened to the body. I remember by the time later, like that day when we came back to Hurricane Point, the body was gone. There was just blood everywhere on the hood of the Humvee. But I guess they probably dumped it off with the Iraqi police at some point. But the rest of that day, like that gunfight was a long one too. Like,
oh yeah,
that one took a while. And I just remember, like, as a dismount, you're basically just a rifleman, and you're just bounding, and it was so hot, like running up to a house to get you're trying to get on the roof of the house so that you can provide covering fire to the element that's going to bound past you and advance towards the enemy on the next block up. So you get up to the front terrace of the house, you kick in the front door, you go into the house, you tell the family you're not there to kill them as long as they don't give you a reason, and then you go up to the roof, right? You run up a couple flights of stairs, get up on the terrace, acquire targets, fire gunshots, and then you hear the call, like, hey, get up to the next block. And then so you go down the stairs, run out the front door, down the street to the next house, and then you kick that door in and go up, to the roof, and like pop off more rounds, and there's gunfire. And I remember that at some point, like we were moving with an element from Fox Company. As soon as it was me and Silver were like together for most of this. We were like, the pair of you don't go alone. The pair of us were like doing this bounding Overwatch stuff, and right as we come downstairs and we come out the door, like a dude from Fox Company got hit with a sniper, like right as we were coming out.
Yep.
And I don't remember what part of him it was. I think it got him in the shoulder, but Doc Cornwell started working on him right away, and then Lieutenant Crawford was right there, and he was like, get back up on that roof. Like, and we're like, whoa, there's a sniper out there, and this guy could shoot. So whatever, like get back up on the roof. And then yeah, I remember hearing another gunshot. Like just that one individual, because it was like you heard it, like that was like a planned like gunshot. It was like crap. That like that was like a sniper. And
Mhm.
so yeah, we ran back up to the roof, heard that another sniper shot, and just started everybody started unloading. I think that was like the biggest like cacophony of like, because you guys were there, we were there, Fox Company guys were there, like everybody just that next sniper round, everybody just started ammo dumping, dude. And it was beautiful.
Nice. I
So
I have one question that's like burning in my brain. During and then I'm reeling you back to your July 13th, 14th time frame. When you were up on that elevated position and you guys killed that ambush and took and basically relieved fire on a unit that was pinned down. Did you or Silver get an award for that?
no,
Okay.
nobody got an award.
That's all.
I think
This is just a
yeah.
personal thing that I this is again something I'm very fascinated by this deployment.
Yeah.
That's a very award worthy action, and so it's why I'm very curious.
I also thought the same. In fact, Lieutenant Crawford would later go on to say, after we were back in Pendleton in California, like, you guys probably could have got a medal from that, but and then he gave, I think he said something like, I didn't want to do the paperwork. That's fine. That's fine.
Well,
It is what it is. That's what we
well,
got
to
this
be
podcast,
well,
right? Now the
to
world
be
knows.
Yeah.
to be fair to some of the to be fair to the lieutenants and our at our let's just have it at the company level. I feel confident to say it at that level at least, but they were being restricted with how
Yep.
what kind of awards could go out at the time, like from higher, and I don't want to say it was at the battalion even. I don't know where it was, but they were there was a lot of Marines that even the ones that they got put in, they were given a hard time about, and there were several that were downgraded.
Okay. Oh wow. I didn't know that. Like, 'cause, a friend that I would later make from Echo Company, later on after the deployment, David Quicklass, he was in Echo and he was at, I think he was at Gypsum and Nova, and he got a Bronze Star that day. But like when you hear him talk about what he did, right, but and not even him, because like I don't think I ever asked him about it, but other people said what he did, and like I'm like, man, that sounds like a freaking Navy cross, dude. Like,
Kern, I tell
man.
you, like if you with just even a passing listen to like almost any like I can list off easily off the top of my head a handful of like Brown Star, Civil Star level actions made by individuals that I witnessed, that I personally witnessed, let alone across weapons company, and the absolute and like just over and over and over again.
Yeah.
It's
I
just
mean, we were in so much like really intense firefighting, like so much intense gunfire, and um every day I mean every day we're in combat of some kind. I think in the book No True Glory by Bing West, I think he said something about the Marines in Ramadi took, as a battalion on average, 3 attacks per day, either through indirect fire or IEDs or direct fire. Like, which I mean, that's astonishing that
well,
we weren't
I
in
mean,
more.
even from the intensity of the firefights, but at the when you start talking about what typically is given awards in the past is also the junior level. Like, okay, this Lance Corporal took charge and did this thing, or a corporal did this, you know, independently understanding what needed to happen and then did the thing. And so like it kind of elevates the action.
Well, that's
And it doesn't even not even from like a serious like firefight standpoint, but like being strategically and tactically minded in the moment and being able to advance the mission. My God, it was every single day.
well, and
Every day.
that's the point I was making about his just. I mean, even your description is probably modest. I would be willing to bet of what happened on that rooftop. Your your two PFCs, maybe Lance Corporal, one of the two of you. You had no communication with higher. There was no one. You were literally asked to make a command decision, which resulted in relieving the pressure from and probably saving the lives of your fellow infantry Marines. And extremely effective based on the battle damage assessment. As he's saying, you just performed at a level at least 2 ranks above your own rank, minimum, along with saving the lives of others. That's star worthy, right? Like that's in any other, again, in any other conflict, in any other time frame, in any other year, you'd easily gotten, you'd easily gotten a bronze star. There's no reason why you wouldn't have. And so that's my soapbox. I try to stay off it too much. I was just very curious because of your description of that. I was like, I bet there's a lot more to that story. And nobody wants to toot their own horn, and I totally get that. But just, I'm saying it to say, I understand the gravity of your action and appreciate it. And that, well, hey, here's your virtual award. I'm sorry. I wish we could do more.
You should be the commandant and the sergeant major in the Marine Corps, and then yeah, that's kind of the way it goes. And you guys yourselves, and pretty much everybody you guys had on the podcast, and
yes,
got some kind of did some kind of insanely courageous action. At least once during the course of that deployment, and so yeah, it is interesting that more awards didn't come from that, but it is what it is, and I think and I hate to sound cliche, but we don't do it for medals,
right. No, it's very true.
Yeah, your buddies know what you did, and anyone who wasn't a Marine kind of doesn't even know what a silver star is anyway. So what are you gonna do? I'll tell you about an award I did get. I got a Purple Heart, and it's the easiest Purple Heart ever. So
okay,
Purple Heart, I'm borderline embarrassed about. So during, I think it was August 12th. I know because the citation. Morning of August 12th, we were out on a foot patrol with Fox Company somewhere near Route Nova, and we had been taking fire, kind of sporadic, quick skirmishes a few days for on a few occasions in the days leading up to this. But we were out on a mission with Fox. I think they had a vehicle breakdown or something, and it was our platoon and one of their platoons all down this narrow alleyway near Route Nova. There was a T intersection in front of us, another road going in front of us, and then beyond that road was a big wide open field, maybe an abandoned soccer field, and then brick buildings and structures beyond that. And we were flanked on both sides of this narrow alleyway by tall kind of 1 or 2 story buildings as well. And we were so my truck from map 1 were parked towards the entrance of the alleyway, almost on the street that was perpendicular to us and in front of us. And I remember thinking there were so many Marines jammed into this alleyway. And I remember thinking we're a juicy target right now, and we've been taking fire. And I was standing in front of the truck, and I heard a pop sound right in front of me in that kind of soccer field open area. Maybe I'm so terrible with distance, but maybe 100 yards in front of us. Probably less. Maybe I don't know, maybe 80. Didn't seem super far away, but I looked up, and there was a rocket propelled grenade just coming straight at me. And I remember seeing it, and this must have happened in a fraction of an instant. But I remember thinking well, I'm dead. I probably shouldn't have stood here, and probably Staff Sergeant Drake's going to be very pissed. And I hope it doesn't hurt too much. And I felt the thing go right past my arm and hit the Humvee. It hit our truck. Doc Cornwell on the back right seat, so behind the vehicle commander. He had left his door open, and it was those armored doors, like the sand colored door, but like the whole Humvee was like green.
Hmm.
But those thick like sand colored doors, it was open, and the round hit that. It impacted and exploded on that, and it kicked up all this dust. I I remember like being shocked. I remember thinking like, am I dead? I couldn't see anything. And like, because there was just, I was in a dust cloud and I heard gunshots. And I remember thinking like, I don't want to shoot because I can't see anything in front of me. And I don't want to shoot anybody on our side, obviously. Um, and then Hess, our driver, um, got in the driver's seat, and I had the knowledge to, I guess, the presence of mind to like get out of his way, because he started pulling us up. Peterson in the gun was telling him like, pull up because we're in this dust cloud, and like he couldn't see anything either, and so we pulled up. And Paul, when he got in the driver's seat, left his door open, another armored door. So I got behind it, and like I remember like using it as a shield. And as he was like driving forward, um, I like had my rifle through his window, and was like, by that time we could like after we drove forward a few feet, like we could start to see things. And I just started to like again mag dump. That's just what I started doing when we made contact. And yeah, it was over in like probably 30 seconds, this skirmish. A couple guys with an RPG had like strolled out in the middle of this soccer field. I don't know how nobody saw them, but they got a round off down this alleyway at us, and yeah, almost hit me. But yeah, I had a so the gunfire kind of like died down. They killed the two guys, and I think some of their buddies were out there shooting at us as well. I think they ran off, but it was over super fast. And Doc Cornwell had been behind his door that the RPG had impacted on. He had gotten knocked out and like thrown back into the Humvee. So thank God when Peterson or when Hess pulled up, he didn't fall out or get run over or something. That's a miracle. But the firefight stopped. I went back to my side behind the driver, like um, whatever, just to like assess what was going on. And then Doc Cornwell came too, and he looked at me and he started freaking out. And he came around the back of the Humvee and he started fucking with my arm, like the back of the elbow. And I was like, what the hell? What are you doing, Doc? And I looked down, and there's like a little blood stain, like the size of a poker chip, like right on my elbow. And I was like, what the hell? And like a little tiny little piece of shrapnel, like the size of like was like had gone into my arm, like. And it was no big deal. It didn't hurt, like. There was barely any blood. And but Cornwell is like, he's doing his doc thing. Is like he's fucking trauma shears. He cuts my sleeve off, and I was like short sleeve on one side, and he's like he starts calling it in, and like he's like, talk, I don't know, whiskey 6. This is whiskey 1. Like we've got a routine casualty or whatever, and I was like. He was saying something like, we need immediate Casevac or something like that. And I was like, Doc, this is nothing, dude. Like, it doesn't even hurt. And he was like, shut up. Don't you want a Purple Heart? And I was like, okay, all right, I'll shut up. I'll shut up. And so, yeah, that's that's my Purple Heart. It was weak. They took me to Charlie Med. Like we stuck around for a bit. There was like some Iraqi dude had been driving through the crossfire, like wrong time, wrong place. He had been driving through the crossfire and he got lit up. This like thank God it was just him, like in his car, but he had like he got lit up, and then me and a couple guys from Fox had to go out. He had like crawled after he got smoked. He'd like crawled down, like kind of on the like from our view, like on the left, down the left side of this road, kind of out of sight from us, and we had to like go out there and get him and like drag his wounded ass back to us. So our docs, Cornwell then worked on him, Uh, and then after that, like they drove me to Charlie Med and like, they stuck my arm under an X-ray machine and the doc showed it to me. He's like, there's a little thing right there in your arm. And I was like, are you gonna like take it out, sir? And he was like, no, it'll either just stay there or it'll work itself out one day. And I was like, oh, cool, good to go. And yeah, that was it. That was yeah, that's my lame-o purple heart story. I would never like brag about having a purple heart. I'll take it, but I'm not gonna like
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be like, oh, I got wounded. Like, no,
Hey man,
not at all.
there's people who got them from concussions for mortars that landed 50 yards away. So and nobody from our unit that I know of, but I know other units where that was definitely the case. So you deserve yours. You actually got hit. So
Did it ever work?
So.
Did he ever work it out?
Just I've never seen it come out or anything. Like, as far as I know, it's still in there. I've never felt it like do anything. I certainly never felt it like, like hurt, like or anything. So yeah, it's still in there. But I know it's like legit, but it's like borderline legit. I would never like, I'd never brag on it.
It's comical to me, and this is definitely a weapons company marine, probably all Marines, but it's definitely a weapons company marine thing. Like everybody has these levels of like, I wasn't in that much combat, tells 50 stories about gunfights. I was just barely wounded. Literally an RPG hit 2 feet right behind you, right behind you. Right.
Yeah.
That's as wounded as you get, man. And you're like, no, there wasn't enough. I didn't take a bayonet to the chest like World War I. Like it.
Right. Yeah. It's everybody tries to be humble, but you think about like how many we had, and you
severely, yeah. Yeah, it's weird to wear the same. There should be different, like it should be a smaller Purple Heart.
Yeah, I would totally do that. I would totally do that. Like,
yeah, me too.
Like McPherson. Yeah,
yeah. He deserves one this big.
Pink heart, yeah, pink star, like you can play with it, yeah. It's you get guys like Sergeant Condi or McPherson or Hurley or any
guys missing eyeballs, yeah.
Oh yeah, how am I gonna But it is what it is. That was it. So then a few more like sporadic skirmishes. I remember meeting Ollie North. I remember kind of doing some missions with him. He was out there for a couple of our little skirmishes, not only July 14th, but when we were at the soccer stadium, we took some contact out there. And then I'm a little dot on a rooftop like nearby mag dumping, but you can't see where it is. Unfortunately, but that was it. Then so that took us into August. Some more August firefights. I don't think we did anything on August 21st, which is a date that has continued to pop up on the podcast. I think we were maybe back on like guard duty or something. Me and Peterson were bridge buddies on guard duty, and the one time we got some on North Bridge, we were out there like it was hot as balls, and bored to death out there. Like since 2004, there's no iPhones, right? There's no YouTube. So you're just a couple of dudes like on a bridge, and but you got some firepower too, though. So we heard some launch, sounded like some rockets or some ordnance got launched from out in the city, and then explosions right on the bridge, like down towards the Blue Diamond area. So like just north of us. And then like by the river, like as look North Bridge, like look down that river, the Euphrates River. And so like down off in the distance, we see like a couple dudes like run towards a car, like they were like running like from the river up to their car. And we were like, that must be them. So we both opened up with our rifles, and then I looked over, noticed the 240, and fucking jumped on it, racked it, and just shot out a whole can at their car. And then I think 80 81s went out there to go check it out, and sent a couple of guys. Maybe like 10 or 15 minutes afterwards. 81s. I think one of them, Sledgehammer Rainmaker, went out there and um, like assessed what happened. I guess they took him to the hospital or something like that. The Iraqis. I think there was a bunch of Iraqis out there, but a couple guys got took to the hospital, and yeah, I don't know if that's if our gunfire wounded those people, but I like to think so. So
Nice.
um, yeah, that was good. So that's our North Bridge story. That's our bridge story. Um, yeah, most of the time the bridges sucked, as you guys well know, but yeah, that was fun.
I actually don't know. That's my my badge of honor. I never had to stand a bridge post.
Okay, nice. Well, you, sir, missed out on quite a lot of staring at the air and counting down minutes, and
Dude,
yeah.
I spent all of the time. Well, again, I can't. Every platoon seems to have done things just a little bit different. I never stood a bridge post, but I was on radio watch in the COP, and so that was a different challenge into and of itself. Because then I would have Gunny Merarki come by and yell at me for something, for existing or breathing too loud, or
dude.
or have random, like the BC would show up, and I'd be like, okay, now I have to be on my best behavior. Like, so it's just a different challenge, different kind of challenge.
That's way worse than like no, like honestly, like just 4 hours of like just kind of sitting there with one of your best friends, right? Like one of your platoon mates, like
Yeah.
shooting the shit. Like that's nothing compared to like having to be around Gunny Merarki,
Yeah.
and the higher ups, and
Yep.
having to be on your game. That's real responsibility. Like that, yeah, that's
I don't know
that's
about real
definitely a challenge.
responsibility, but I felt like a boot. That's how I felt. So
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's yeah, definitely nerve-wracking.
Well, cool, man. You're getting towards the end there. You remember kind of what it felt like to get out of there?
I remember um like coming down to like our last week or so in Ramadi, and then you guys did the left seat, right seat stuff, which I didn't participate in um at all. And we went over to Junction City for like a week or so. And I guess that was supposed to be some kind of like decompression stuff. Um, and yeah, we just kind of had like time to just chill, really. But you guys went out there, and you guys got it on with 2-4 with 2-5, like the incoming 2-5 unit. And I've heard quite a bit about like what happened with that debacle. And yeah, you guys were right there, right in the thick of it. And again, it was like we were at JC, and like I kept hearing about all this contact you guys were making out there as you tried to show these new Marines the ropes. And I remember thinking like, damn, like I wish I was back out there. Like, damn, we're missing it again. But you know, luckily most of you guys came back safe and sound. I think Diaz got he got
Broke his leg.
wounded.
The two closest to being killed was Musser and Diaz. Diaz had a mortar
Diaz,
landed
yeah.
right next to him and broke his femur. And if basically just by dumb luck, if kind of like your RPG story, if Musser hadn't leaned forward, he'd have taken an RPG to the side of the head. So it's just luck.
It's crazy how like how much those like Iraqis, like how much of those Hajis like knew what what our whole plan was. I mean, I guess the higher ups had probably talked to their police chiefs and tribal chiefs and all that stuff. But yeah, it's interesting how they were able to pick up on that. Like, there's a new unit, and we're gonna get get the initiative on them. And yeah, you guys were out there for that, which is like a whole other experience that not many guys from Weapons Company had. I don't even remember from our platoon who did left seat, right seat. Probably Anthony and Santiago, I'd imagine.
I remember Drake being part of it, and I remember Lieutenant Crawford being a part of it. I do not remember anybody else. I don't know if Anthony and Santiago were there or not. I don't remember seeing them. But those are the two I do remember seeing. And yeah, anybody who was a part of it will tell you that was probably the worst couple of days of the whole deployment.
1,000%.
That's yeah. That I mean that what a crappy send off too. It's like yeah, what a crappy send off. Like what a crappy way to end like the deployment. Like all that we worked and fought for, and a lot of us were wounded and died for. Like yeah, to watch 2-5 kind of come in and pussyfoot around these assholes. That's yeah. From what I'm told, they didn't want to shoot. They didn't want to like engage because they thought we had been too aggressive in the city. I guess is that what it was?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we've repeated this a few times, but it bears repeating again. And this is thinking back. It's also kind of the same way we felt about like we shit talked the National Guard unit, right? We're like, they're a bunch of pussies. They're just driving up and down Michigan. It's like, well, no, like that was probably the best tactic actually for given how many people they actually had. Like that was probably smart to be very honest. And we thought, well, we're going to do it better, right? Well, it's the same thing. 2-5 got told we were a bunch of cowboys and that we were just shooting wildly. We took all these casualties because we were careless, and they're going to do it better. They're going to do it better. And they learned very quickly. They had their big battle. I mean, they had one of their biggest battles not long after we left. I think November was one of their biggest stand-up gunfights.
They had a throwdown in November.
Yeah, exactly. And so they learned the lesson the same way we did, right? We learned our lessons in April. They learned them in November. It was almost the exact same time frame, about 6 weeks after they got there.
Yeah. They got a little time to like kind of get settled in, and then the Hajis kicked off, and wow. And that kept going until 2-4 went back to Ramadi. Echo and Fox, I think, went back to Ramadi in 06, and Ramadi was still a tinderbox. So yeah, crazy. But I remember of leaving. I remember that there was a week that we had in Camp Junction City, that enormous army base, like on the other side of the canal, so south of Hurricane Point, and that was a week where I guess we were supposed to decompress and kind of just chill out and get ready to go back. We took a civilian flight, if I remember correctly, back to California.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, we jumped military flights from Al Asad to Kuwait, and then a civilian flight from Kuwait straight back to California. There was no stops actually, which was very nice.
Yeah, that's way better than the engine failure and all that stuff. Nice. I remember that Solis, Solis Suarez, Corporal, at the time, he had we were leaving Ramadi. We were like going to Al Asad, and he was not like a full U.S. citizen yet. He's like he's from Mexico.
Yep.
And they had like, for some reason, they decided at that moment was when he needed to like finalize his U.S. citizenship papers, and so he could either stay in Iraq and I don't know why it had to be there at that moment in that place, but he had to make a choice to either stay in Al Asad for a few more days or like do his citizenship paperwork, or get on the plane and go back to California and deal with that crap later. And he got on the plane. He was out of there.
Yeah. I don't know if I would have stayed either.
Crazy.
So yeah, I don't know. And what a stupid system.
Just not great. Yeah. I remember just being like, why now? Like, why let him go home? Like, what? Yeah, crazy. So yeah, crazy time for sure.
And then obviously getting home I assume you took leave because we all got the free, however many weeks of leave you wanted, up to 4. And how was that coming home?
It was good. I actually remember that I decided on that post-deployment leave to do recruiter's assistance. Was it? No, wait. I'm sorry. No. It wasn't that. I did that at Christmas. I'm sorry. Or was Christmas? When was our leave block? Was it Christmas and post-deployment in December?
Yeah.
Or
yes, there was there was a leave block for Christmas that year. Yes.
Okay. But it was, so there wasn't like a post-deployment leave in like October and then another Christmas leave in December.
There was right. There was both. It was basically all of October. We got back for November to be able to do the ball, and then I think they had blocked out a week plus for Christmas but that's when Nyland and I were getting out, and so I mean there was no like we were doing tap and tap, and no one was around.
Yep.
So
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I took recruiter's assistance in December because I remember being there for Christmas. But post deployment leave, I think I only took 2 weeks because I was like really in the mindset that like I wanted to save up my leave days and take terminal. And of course, like, dude, like I still had like 3 more years left.
I was just gonna say
already
you're a year in. It's like okay, I'm gonna get as much terminal leave as possible.
out of here. Oh, dude, I must have just. I know. I was just like, well, I did combat. Like now, I'm ready to leave the Marine Corps. Like I did
All
what I
done.
needed to do. All done. Yeah. Which is why, like, it's so interesting to hear, like, from your guys' perspective, or like in your generation, like that you're the guys who had done like Oki and stuff, and versus like us, like me, like I lived the boot experience in Romani, and you guys were already like seasoned like NCOs, and we wouldn't have done like, listen to the podcast, like I think it was Hodges talking about like how young and new we all were, but we still stepped up, and it's like, no, like you guys, man, like as the senior NCOs, like we couldn't have done like you guys and guys like Hodges, Sakaki, Condi, Anthony, Santiago, like tons of them, tons of the guys from your generation, the senior lances and the NCOs. Like, I mean, we wouldn't have been worth anything if it hadn't been for you guys. So it's
It
we're lucky we had you.
it was kind of a magic potion. I really I guess that was part of our point of starting this podcast, to be quite honest, is to capture this weird weapons company in that we just had a damn good group. Everybody put out, everybody did the right thing. The leaders did the right thing. We had all good leadership. Our officers were great. Our staff were great. We were supported by the battalion, which isn't always a thing. We had people who actually recognized weapons companies' capabilities, which is also unique. Often a weapons company is like an afterthought. And it's just all good. It's all good and in all directions. Just a weird good luck charm. Because I think honestly, you said it once in one of your stories when you're talking about, I think August, all the weapons vehicles were juicy targets, man. We were big,
Oh yeah.
loud, lots of multiple people in each vehicle. Like we should have taken a lot more casualties, and it was
Mhm.
it really was, again, I think it was just a magic potion. I don't have any other way to put it. We got lucky.
Yeah. We did. Yeah, we did. I think I learned, I heard later in my Marine Corps career that sometimes a battalion will send like some of the better or more experienced officers to weapons company.
Mhm.
And I don't know, like I don't even remember like our officers' past experience on previous deployments, but we definitely had some very good leadership from Captain Weiler on down. It's First Sergeant Mack, like I mean, Gunny Merarkey, just
Yeah.
all stars, all stars. So
Yeah,
we're
it was
lucky.
great. It was very good.
Yeah.
Well, we're kind of wrapping it up, man. We're going on a couple hours. We've asked everybody, and it seems like a good way to kind of put a bow on it. Looking back 22 years, what does all this mean to you? What do you tell other people that aren't us, that aren't Marines?
Yeah, when they if they hear like that, I served in the United States military, you know, you're kind of you're just like a novelty, a complete novelty. Even in the United, like when I am in the US, and there's not many veterans in the US, despite a 20-year war on terror. And there's much fewer veterans of like real ground combat. I mean, having grown up in the
Yes.
90s as we did, like the Clinton era, I mean, like aside from like Desert Storm and then like Somalia, Black Hawk Down, like there wasn't much shooting going on. And I always wanted to be in the military. I was always fascinated by like doing military service and stuff. So I always knew I was going to be in it. But I remember growing up thinking like, well, I'll probably, join the army, but I probably will never see combat because that just doesn't happen in today's world, right? And you know, man, yeah, it definitely still does. And to have lived an experience like that especially at our age, first enlistment kind of, from 18 to 20, 22, 23, your guys' age, around there, an experience like being involved in kinetic ground, uh, in counterinsurgency operations, that's just a thing that like most people can't even like fathom, and definitely have never experienced, and it's a very unique way to start your adult life. um you know like I'm
That's
like I I got a I got a bad habit of swearing too much that I've tried to keep under control during this podcast as much as possible. But people will say like, you got quite the trucker mouth on you, and I'm like, well, I spent the first 4 years of my adult life in a Marine infantry unit in ground combat in Iraq, so
Yeah.
fuck you.
Yeah. Yeah. That's your love language.
Yeah, this is my poetry, man. I'm Hawthorne or Shakespeare. Yeah, it's a unique way to start life. I wouldn't change 1 second of it. Maybe April 6th, if I had a time machine, I'd have told myself jump into one of Map Two's trucks or any one. Let's go out fight with them.
Uh-huh.
If I'd known, Map One wasn't going out that day, I'd have gone AWOL with one of you guys. But it is what it is, and I wouldn't trade 1 second of it. And it's to be part of the 2-4, magnificent bastards. Got the tattoo right there.
Nice.
Fucking, that's a brotherhood that just you're never gonna find that anywhere else. And I'm so happy that I could, start my adult life having done that. Like, I think it was Reagan that said, like, some people spend a lifetime wondering if they ever made a difference, but Marines don't have that problem. And that's,
Yeah.
yeah, I love it. So, yeah, that's it.
Well, I don't know that we can add anything else to this. This has been great, dude.
Appreciate you. Thank you, man. If you like what you heard, make sure you subscribe for future episodes on your favorite podcast service.